Are they also? Oops.
Welcome to the Camp Constitution Report with your host, Hal Shurtleff. This show is heard on YouTube, our Podomatic page, as well as Amazon, iHeart, and a whole bunch of others. Brought to you by Camp Constitution, which, among all things, runs a week-long family camp, weekend retreats. We host the Sam Blumenfeld Archive, which is an excellent resource for educators, homeschoolers. And we are quite busy throughout the year, so visit our website, campconstitution.net, to learn more about us. And I am very pleased to have a couple of special guests. I say that all my guests are special, but I have what they call Google Alerts for myself, for Camp Constitution, for Shurtleff v. Boston, which is the lawsuit that we won in the U.S. Supreme Court, and Christian Flag. And so I usually every day I get something. Sometimes it just has somebody's first name and the Constitution, the name of a newspaper. But there's a lot of things because our case has stimulated interest around the country. And it seems like a week doesn't go by that somewhere, somebody in some town or city has taken a stance against, I call it the culture war. And as a result of our lawsuit that was decided back in May of 22, hundreds of towns and cities around the country decided to change their flag policy to simply have the U.S. flag, the state flag, county flag, POW flag, and maybe a few others, but no what we call third-party flags. That would be flags of private organizations to fly on flagpoles. And in some cases, the cities or towns are allowing conservative-minded Christian flags and pro-life flags to fly. Even in Massachusetts, we work with a group, a pro-life legal group, that has been flying the pro-life flag on various town hall and city hall property as a result of our case. And we actually had the pro-life flag fly in the town of Billerica, Massachusetts. They voted against it initially, but when I zoomed in and mentioned that it cost the city of Boston well over $2 million in legal fees, probably close to three, they retook the vote and decided, yeah, let them fly their flag. So it was just last week that I got a notice here. Plainfield Pride flag draws strong debate at village board meeting, and I was able to contact. I'm just going to kind of scroll it a little bit here. And Plainfield, this would be Illinois, and some of the folks, Molly Krempski and Michael Krempski, were prominent in this article, and they're with the U.S. Patriots Society, the Kendall County chapter. So they're my guests. So please introduce yourselves and tell us what motivated you to do this, and where does it stand right now?
Yeah, so we're just regular, average American citizens living in a small town, or once was a small town in Illinois. We really kind of just minded our own business for the most part, most of our life, raising 7 children, and just stayed out of public really at all. Just kind of lived our life in our home and did our things with our kids and our family. And really recently is when we really started getting involved more.
Post-COVID. So our kids were in public school before COVID. During and after that, we pulled them out and we never sent them back. And that's kind of when our activism started. I went to the Capitol on January 6th to discourage them from certifying an election that should never have been certified. And I fell in love with flags then. I'd never been in a crowd with that many people before, and I'd certainly never seen that many flags in one take. Just, tall poles with multiple flags on these poles and just as far as the eye could see. So, I came home, we carried flags all weekend through the city, and I just thought, like, how do I go home and not carry a flag everywhere I go? And so I love the way that they can speak. We bought a bunch of flags after that. We did some activism with a firefighter in our area that was being forced to take the COVID mandate, or mandated to take the COVID vaccine. And I think our first flags were the thin red line that we took to that. And that was the first time I ever spoke. And then since then, we have like 80 different flags in our garage that we bring out for different rallies and protests and parades, a lot of political parades where we can carry flags that talk about the issues without saying a word, which I kind of like.
Yeah, they can really.
I know you, by the way, I really like the videos. You have a YouTube channel, and I watched one of them I uploaded on our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
And you
thank
give a
you.
good history lesson too. I mean, you folks know your history. And by the way, if you ever in Greater Boston, Lexington, and New Hampshire, we'll put you up. We have a place now. I'm in New Hampshire, but Camp Constitution manages what we call a learning center. It's actually an old carriage house, and our chaplain lives there with his wife. It's just a few blocks from Lexington Battle Green. So if you ever want a good tour of Lexington and Concord, Boston, Plymouth,
Love it.
let me know. And I guess I was so impressed because a lot of people miss out the history. You know, when the Tea Party started, there were a lot of people who thought it meant taxed enough already. They didn't even know anything about the Boston Tea Party, you know.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate the historical lesson you give in your videos. And by the way, give out your YouTube channel so people who are viewing this can also subscribe to it.
Okay. I think it's just Molly Krempski. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay. All right. So Molly, how do you spell the last name?
Krempski.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I also love flags, and there's so much history. And back in 2014, I think it was 14, we flew the Gadsden flag on City Hall Plaza in Boston without any fanfare. The city, no big deal. But for some reason, that Christian flag that really didn't like it. So anyway, tell me your experiences. You both of you testified at the town hall meeting. So tell me what was your experience and where does it stand right now?
Well, the mayor has actually been in Greece for about 5 weeks. I think he's back now, but we haven't really had a chance to talk face to face. I know that the board and the mayor are all really interested in it going away. They don't want to talk about it. There's an election coming up. They don't want it to turn into a controversy. But what we're trying to do is really pressure them into declaring an allegiance, or the question that I kind of want to bring on the forefront of all of these meetings now is one nation under which God? And that's, that's an ancient question that Paul has addressed and people are starting to address now, but they're very hesitant to declare which God. And you can't really have a nation under a God unless you're declaring, do you have a pantheon of gods, or is it a single God? Like what are we doing here? How is this nation running? And that's really what that's what the proclamation that we requested and the flag flying that we requested, that's kind of what that was pushing them toward. We never really expected that they would be flying it. But it was sort of pushing them toward seeing their hypocrisy straight on and answering real questions that were put to them.
Well, I can give you Gloucester, Massachusetts, a little north of the fishing community there. A gentleman said, let's fly the Christian flag around Easter time. And he actually got a hold of our legal defense, Liberty Counsel, and they sent a demand letter. And so what they do now is they have a flag. On May, the last day in May, the mayor will raise the rainbow flag, but it comes right down right after the ceremony. So that's I think that's a victory. Nashua, New Hampshire, we actually raised the Christian flag on Easter or Resurrection Sunday, and was there for a whole week. But a friend of mine and she and her husband, they wanted to fly. Let's see, it was the pine tree flag. And I think you're familiar with it. And it's a historical flag in New Hampshire because it was what's known as a pine tree riot. Anyway, the liberal mayor said, well, that's problematic because people carrying that on January 6th. Well, wait a minute. This was a historical flag. It's got nothing to do with January. With me, we can get into that. I mean, that's another issue, false flag. But they carried U.S. flags too. We're going to ban the U.S. flag. They carried a lot of flags.
Right.
So there was another legal defense group that picked up the case and filed it in New Hampshire federal court. And I know Birmingham, Alabama, some Christians got together, mostly Black conservative Christians, and they wanted to declare, I guess it was October, Faith Month, and they voted for it. And then so the mayor decided, okay, because he flew the rainbow flag that fall at early June, and they said, tell you what, we'll just stop doing it, and that was a goal altogether.
Yeah.
But this rainbow flag, as you pointed out in your testimony, it represents sex, perverted sex. I don't know if you use that term, but that's and
Yeah.
some year back in 17, I went around to I made a video and I stopped in front of these I call them apostate churches that fly either the rainbow flag or have the Black Lives Matter, and I said that the rainbow flag is the de facto flag of apostate Christianity.
Yes.
And they say, well, it's not a religious flag. Well, I beg to differ. It is a religious flag. It's
Exactly.
secular. It's a symbol of secular humanism.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to, or tell us about the United States Patriot Society.
Okay, so really, we just got involved with it recently. It is a national organization that's been around since about 2018. The founder, we actually met at a rally a few years back when Joe Biden came to town. Actually, it was in Plainfield. He actually called us a bunch of idiots. That was on the news, and we thought that was great that we were called
That's a
idiots.
compliment, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he was there just doing interviews. Talked to him briefly there, like what he was doing in his organization, and really did start following him on Facebook, personally, and on his Patriot Society page. And recently, this last year, he contacted me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in starting a chapter in Illinois?" And I was like, "No, not really. I'm kind of busy. We have a lot going on." And so I
7
really,
children. Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
And we were doing a lot of activism on our own, and we really kind of tried to stay away from churches and political organizations because we want to be able to do what we want to do and what we need to do without having
Independent.
anyone.
Yeah.
yeah. So I looked into the website and said, "Wow, this is really." I'm kind of resonating with everything that he's putting out there and like it. So had a nice conversation with them. Said, "Okay, we'll do it. We'll start one in Kendall County." So we actually just started really August was our first meeting. And then we went right into this Plainfield flag thing. It's like one of the first things we did as the United States Patriot Society.
And do you
And
have
I-
their website? And I'll put it in the description of the video. But do you have the website for the organization so people who are watching may want to learn more about it and get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. It's TUSPS.org.
Just like your T-shirt reads, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there can't be enough patriotic Christian-based organizations in this country. So I really commend you both. And please keep me posted about the developments in the town and the flag. And if you're looking for legal counsel, the Liberty Counsel is not a big organization and they can only take so many cases. But if they can't help you, they could refer you to others, several, 4 or 5, maybe 7 or 8 different pro bono. And it's all pro bono. They don't charge you a cent. When we won our case, it was actually almost 5 years in the making. And we actually raised the Christian flag on City Hall, 200 people, media everywhere. And it was a great and glorious day.
Yeah.
But what's more important is that it set a precedent. And there's something is known as the lemon test. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
You are now. If you weren't, you are now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And between
You
our
were
case,
you were already famous to us. Like when Mike said that you contacted me, I'm like, wait a minute, the guy among Kennedy and Bruin who changed the entire world, that guy?
I don't know about that, but I just say it's God used me as one of his humble instruments, and he couldn't
Yes.
choose anybody more humbler, But I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to be down in Texas with my wife, and I'm going to meet Coach Kennedy. So there's a Christian conference center down there, and I'll meet Riley Gaines and a few other fighters again in the Paul Blair, the pastor Paul Blair, who you know him, he was the Black Robe Regiment. He's out of Oklahoma, so I'm looking forward to that. So keep me posted. And again, if you're looking for any legal counsel, I could recommend some. If Liberty Counsel can't help you, there's others that may. And some cases, it might just be a letter, a demand letter. That's all you need. You don't have to, go through 5 years, 6, 7 years of legal battles. So with that, hey, have a great day. Thank you for coming on, and I'll send you a link to the video when it comes up. And you're welcome to do whatever you want with it.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, God bless. You've been listening to the Camp and watching the Camp Constitution Report with your host, Hal Shurtleff. And until next time, may God richly bless you, and subscribe as well as visit our website, campconstitution.net.